Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. This is Legends of Myths and Monsters, one of my favorite shows I like doing. Tonight's Urban Legends. I think you guys will get a kick out of this. And there's one for every state. I don't know if you guys knew it. And as I go through the states, maybe you'll find out there's one in your state that you didn't even know about. Um, so I am having issues on YouTube. YouTube would not let me in tonight. I don't know why. I even had an alternate source I could use, and it still wouldn't let me in. So I will probably move this over, and they'll get a recorded version tonight. Sorry about that. And happy birthday to our moderator, Mary. She's I think she said she was 23 years old this today. So happy birthday. So around the table she must go, and so she can spank somebody. I know she don't want to be spanked, so she's going to spank somebody tonight. I bet she does. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show. I'm kind of excited about this. I've got a small video. It's got some creepy stuff on it, um, but we'll watch it. I'll throw it in there, and but I want to get going on this creepy urban legends. Yeah. So if you're in Alabama, did you know about Hell's Gate Bridge? A generally accepted story of Hell's Gate Bridge starts in the 1950s. A young couple driving over the bridge somehow drove their car off the bridge one night and they both drowned. Um, there are two legends associated with Hell's Gate Bridge. One, you drive your car out to the middle of the bridge and turn off the lights, and a couple will magically appear in front of your car and leave a wet spot on your seat. The other, which is hope you don't have leather seats. Oh boy. All right. The other is which is how the bridge got its name. Is the belief that you drive over the bridge, you look over your shoulder halfway, and the scenery behind you turns into a portal to hell engulfed in flames. Potentially to curb ghost hunters and bored teenagers. Hell's Gate Bridge is closed to cars now and is as much a disrepair that walking across is even strongly discouraged. So, uh, Alaska, the Kushtaka of Alaska Triangle. Everyone knows the story of the Bermuda Triangle, but you might not know about Alaskan Triangle. On average, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing in Alaska. This is according to LA Times. So if there's nothing supernatural going on, it's easy to get lost in the Alaskan wilderness. The Tlingit tribe, who live in Juneau, have their own explanation for a high number of missing people. Evil spirits called the Kushtaka, Kushtaka, Tushtaka. All right, let's get it right. Are shapeshifters, half man, half otter, who lure women and children in the water with fake cries in order to steal their human spirits and drown them. Oh, okay. Well, that's something. I ain't going in that water. All right, Arizona, the ghost of Slaughterhouse Canyon. The story is Slaughterhouse Canyon, not pictured. There's no picture for it. I went and looked. I didn't get pictures tonight. I just did a video. Also called the less frightening Luna Canyon, takes place during the gold rush. During the 1800s, there was a family who lived down the canyon. They were very poor, so the father would venture out into the canyon for food for his family. As you might have guessed, one day the father did not return, and also found dead many weeks later. So his family slowly starved and descended into madness. The mother, unable to bear listening to her children's cries, put on her wedding dress, murdered her children, then threw them in a nearby river. The next day, she succumbed to starvation herself. The legend states if you go down to Slaughterhouse Canyon at night, even now, you will hear the loud, anguished cries of the mother who lost her mind. Huh. Oh boy. Arkansas, the Boggy Creek Monster. The Boggy Creek Monster of Folk in Arkansas, the versions of Sasquatch. He's commonly accepted to be around 7 to 9 feet tall, covered in hair. The legend says that he roams the creeks of rural Arkansas. He was first spotted in 1834 when people reported seeing a wild man. People still claim to spot the Boggy Creek Monster today, and he has been subject of five feature-length films, including the 1972 The Legend of Boggy Creek. All right, California. Are you in California? The Charman. The Charman's original story is very gruesome. The father and son were both caught in a house fire and horribly burnt in 1948. And after the fire, the son became so mentally unstable, he killed his father. When the police found the son, he was so unrecognizably burnt, they didn't realize he was alive. So he ran away before they were able to arrest him for the murder of his father. The story goes that ever since then, the Charman can be spotted wandering the woods around Ojai, occasionally approaching tents of innocent campers, pretending to be a hitchhiker, and then attempting to attack them. I never knew about that one. Colorado, many legends of Riverdale Road. Has anybody made it in here yet? I hope so. So, Riverdale is a road, is the site of not one but 8 creepy stories, ranging from like a hell gate to ghosts of slaves hanging from trees. The stretch of road is decidedly spooky. The creepiest story, though, is the one of the phantom jogger. One day there was a driver who hit one day there was a driver who hit a jogger, freaked out, and left him for dead. Now it's said that if you park on the side of the crash, you'll hear footsteps or moans getting closer and closer to your car. People have reported handprints on their windows, banging noises if someone were kicking the outside. All right, for those that live in Connecticut, Hannah Cranna, do you know about that one? She is known as the Wicked Witch of Monroe. Hannah Cranna gained reputation as a witch in the 19th century when her husband died mysteriously, falling off a cliff. And locals reported and believed that she had bewitched him. And people also believed that she would cast spells on people that she hated. Hannah lived to the ripe age of 77, but before she died, she asked to be carried down to the cemetery in her coffin by foot, not wagon. After the death, many people of Monroe tried to wheel her coffin down the hill, but unable. The coffin kept falling off, so they were forced to carry it. When the townspeople returned to her home, it was found to be engulfed in flames, sealing Hannah's reputation of witchcraft. Now you can visit her real grave site in Tumble. All right, for those of you in Delaware, boy, this is going to be fun, all the states. The Ghost of Mr. Chew. I think I did this last time I did Urban Legends. While not a particular mean spirit ghost, Samuel Chew's story is still disconcerting. Chew was the Chief Justice of Delaware Supreme Court in 1741. As the story goes, he was alive. He didn't always get respect he should have deserved. People frequently made fun of his name by mimicking sneezes as he walked by and then say, achoo, achoo. And after his death, people reported seeing his ghost sitting under a poplar tree, wandering the courthouse, and generally creeping out the residents of Dover. Chew would also pull on men's coattails and give women a cold, icy feeling. All right, here for Florida. The Gravity Defy Spook Hill, or the Legend of Spook Hill. The phenomenon that happens at Spook Hill is real. Cars are parked in a neutral and it will appear to roll uphill. Legends say the hill is either the site of a Native American burial ground or an epic battle of Native Americans, according to a chief. And the chief also had the chief against a crocodile. But the truth is, it actually just an illusion created by the hills surrounding. While cars appear to be rolling uphill, they are still just rolling downhill. Huh. There's a place like that in California over close to Fairfield, I believe. If those living around Fairfield, they might remember it. I'm not sure. It's out in the rolling hills. So I don't know. I'll have to find out from a couple people I know out there. Georgia, the ghost town of Lake Lanier or Lanier. At the bottom of Lake Lanier lies almost fully intact towns, ferries, a racetrack, multiple cemeteries. The Georgia government, in determination to create Lake Lanier, brought up entire towns in order to clear the space for the lake. After they received congressional approval in 1946, however, they just decided to let the water cover up the towns rather than demolish them. Now, Lake Lanier has decidedly eerie feeling about it. There have been unusual number of freak accidents, deaths on the lake. Uh, Lots of deaths, they say. In 2011, there were 17 deaths alone. Many people who drowned there have been recovered, have reported feeling arms and legs in the water or people grabbing them, but have not been able to find them after leading people to believe that spirits still roam the lake. Huh. Hawaii, the night marchers. The night marchers, according to Hawaiian lore, are not evil spirits, but they do demand respect. They are spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors who march around the islands to protect sacred areas. Legend says if you look directly at the night marcher, you will be marked for death. And if someone by chance you find yourself in the middle of a procession, you are supposed to lie down in the middle of the road. Okay. Idaho. Those of you in Idaho, have you heard of the water babies of Massacre Rocks? Water babies are Native American. It's a Native American legend that are not found in a couple different places in America, but most famously in Pocatello at the Massacre Rocks State Park. The Shoshone tribe was first recorded in 1805, and they were roaming around Great Plains as early as 1500s. So it's not clear when exactly the legend originated, but the story goes that Shoshone experienced an extreme famine, and the mothers were forced to drown their babies, drown them in the river rather than watch their children starve. Today, some people claim if you sit quietly at the river by the Massacre Rocks, you'll hear the sound of the babies. Or others say that these babies grew gills and fins and survived, and now they seek revenge of their mothers by luring unsuspected victims into the deaths in the river. Huh. Oh boy, this is a good one. Illinois. Oh boy, you guys got a good one for Illinois. Homie the Clown. Oh, chuckle, chuckle. Throughout the suburbs in Chicago in the 90s, there was a rumor going around elementary school. There was a creepy man dressed as Homie the Clown. Yes, like from In Living Color look. And driving around in a white van trying to lure kids into it with candy and money. In some variation, he was a kidnapper, and others he was a rapist. But in all variations, Homie left a mark on Chicago kids in the 1990s. All right, I'm gonna have to check with a friend of mine, see if his kids knew about Homie the Clown. How creepy. All right, Indiana. Oh, So if you're just joining me tonight, I'm doing urban legends for all the states. So your state will be mentioned. So Indiana, 100 Steps Cemetery. The 100 Steps Cemetery is located in the town of Brazil. Though official address is actually disputed, while it's not clear when the stories about the cemetery being haunted began, there are gravestones that date back to 1860. The legend states that if someone finds himself in the cemetery at midnight, they must climb the steps and count to 100. Y'all better do this now. And at this point, a ghost of an undertaker will appear and show the person a vision of their death. Oh, no, no. Ellie goes back. No, Ellie's going to go back down the stairs. Nope. Don't want to see a vision of my death. Nope. All right. So on the way back down, no, Ellie's running down. Oh, boy, I don't like this one. Karen, you got to save me on this one. Get the holy water and the popcorn. So on the way back down, do we want to know what happens on the way down? The visitor is supposed to count the steps again. If they count the same amount of steps, the vision is false. Well, no, Ellie's going to not even go up the stairs. Where was this place now? Indiana, 100 Steps Cemetery. It's located in Brazil, Indiana. I'm staying away from that place. Okay, so people who visited the cemetery in the past have tried to outsmart the supernatural forces in 100 steps by avoiding the steps altogether. That's me. They've reported being knocked down, shoved to the ground by an unseen force. No, I just ain't going to go there. If you want to do the 100 step, that's in Indiana. No, not this kid. All right, Iowa, the Black Angel. The Black Angel stands over 8 feet tall in Oakland Cemetery in Iowa City, and she is black due to oxidation, most likely because her dark appearance. Multiple legends have cropped around her. One legend says that a pregnant woman should never walk under her or she'll lose her child. Others say that if you touch or kiss the statue, you'll be dead within 6 months. Who's going to, oh, never mind. Whether haunted, cursed, or completely harmless, the statue definitely is a somber sight to see. No kissing the statue. Ooh. All right, Kansas, the Devil's Chair. The legend of the Devil's Chair goes like this. An old farmer in Alma refused to sell his land to the city in order to build a new cemetery. Someone got a little too tired of waiting on him to sell, so he was pushed into his own well, which killed him. Eventually, someone said there was a terrible smell coming from the well, so the city sent someone to investigate. It was ruled that the well was empty and it was boarded up. Now, if you make your way to Alma, you can actually sit on the boarded up well. Ooh. But legend says that people who have sat on the well have been known to mysteriously disappear. Huh. All right, Kentucky. Those in Kentucky. The Goat Man of Pope Lick. Boy, what a name. There's no clear consensus of how the goat men came to be. Some say it was a circus performers. Others say he was a farmer who tortured his goats for Satan and returned to transform into a hideous goat monster. However, everyone does agree on his appearance. Dark fur, pale skin, goat legs, and horns. The monster is said to hide under the bridge at Pope Lick Creek in Louisville to lure people onto the train tracks, only to see them hit by oncoming trains. Sadly, this urban legend has some dangerous consequences. In 2016, an Ohio woman fell to her death from the bridge while looking for the goat men. Ooh. All right. So in Louisiana now, the Grunch. Grunch Road is an old dirt road that leads deep into the woods and actually to a dead end. It was a favorite place for teenagers to go and do whatever teenagers really do until they learned about the Grunch. The Grunch is rumored to be a group of deformed, half human, half monsters that resulted from years of isolation in the Louisiana bayous. In the present day, it said to if you find yourself on Grunch Road, don't get out of your car. If you see a goat who looks injured, the stories say the Grunch used goats to lure people out of their cars so they could eat them or drain their blood. Oh, okay. Maine. So we're on to Maine. The mysterious stain on Colonel Jonathan's buck tomb. The tomb of Colonel Jonathan Buck in Buck Sports bears, boy, this is a tongue twister, a mysterious leg shaped stain. The story goes that Buck sentenced a woman to burn for witchcraft, and while she was burning, her leg rolled out of the fire. It's said that the witch cursed Buck's tomb to always bear a stain for his injustice. It is said that people have tried to get rid of the stain twice, but the stain keeps reappearing. Maryland, Chessie and the Chesapeake Bay Monster. All right. Um, Chessie, Chessie sightings have been around since the 1930s, but really started to pick up steam about in the 80s when a photograph evidence became more readily available. Chessie is said to resemble a snake, measured about 30 feet long, is approximate thickness of a telephone pole. Ooh. They haven't been any record attacks from Chessie, but a 30-foot long snake does not sound like something most people want to run into. Well, heck no. Huh. Is anybody in, where was this? Maryland. Anybody in Maryland has seen this Chessie? Because it says it's a bay monster. Chesapeake Bay Monster. Has anybody seen it? That's almost like that Nessie. This is, I guess, close to it. Huh. All right. Massachusetts, the spirit of Hoosac Tunnel. In the 24-year-long construction of Hoosac Tunnel in the western Massachusetts, approximately 200 men died. The death was so associated with the tunnel that it was actually named the Bloody Pit. After particular gruesome explosion in, they say, 1867 or 1868, 13 miners were trapped inside the tunnel. The other workers assumed that the miners had died, but eventually it was discovered the miners had lived, built a raft to combat flooding, and eventually died due to poisonous gas inhalation. It is said these 13 miners haunt the tunnel for years, moaning and briefly appearing as ghosts. All right, Michigan, the little girl on Knock Knock Road. Boys, these are pretty good. The legend of Knock Knock Road says there was a little girl who was murdered on Knock Knock Road in the Detroit area, and now she appears to drivers at the car window, knocking, trying to find the person who killed her. Huh, she ought to go scare some of the gang members out there. All right, Minnesota, the Kensington Runestone. In 1898, the Swedish-American farmer found a gigantic slab of rock on his farm. It had symbols and appeared to be a type of Norse writing. And since no one has figured out where it came from, while the official historians have debunked that the Vikings made an appearance in the North American before Columbus did, the myth has persisted. And it wasn't the Viking who did leave this rock. And what does that say? I don't know. So, um, I think I've heard about this on one of them History Channel shows. I bet you it's Norse. Huh. Somebody carved on the rock. So, all right, Mississippi, Deer Island Haunted Treasure. So, the ghost of Deer Island originates from an old pirate story. The story says back in the 1920s, two men were fishing on Deer Island when they heard rustling in the bushes. The noise they assumed was caused by wild hogs. Eventually, they decided to check it out and they encountered a headless skeleton that ran and they ran back to their boat. And the skeleton followed them all the way there. And according to the pirate's story, there was a ship that sailed into the Biloxi Bay and buried their treasure on Deer Island. The crew decided to behead one of their own and left his body behind to guard the treasure. All right, Missouri. Momo, the Missouri Monster. Momo is Missouri's version of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the big guy. He has been said to have a terrible body odor, a pumpkin shaped type head, and an appetite for dogs. Ooh, okay. In 1968, Momo reported to try to abduct a 4-year-old boy, though no evidence has ever been found. Huh. Leave the doggies alone now, Bigfoot. I thought Bigfoot was nice. You know, oh, no, no dogs for Bigfoot. Montana, the story of Sacrifice Cliff. So we're on to Montana. And if you're just now joining us, we are doing urban legends for all the states tonight. So the story of Sacrifice Cliff, it looks like it's close to Billings, it says. There comes an old Native American legend. Two members of the Crow tribe uh, arrived in their village from a trip that almost everyone there had been infected with smallpox. Most of them that went on this trip had died. So heartbroken about the loss of their loved ones, the two decided to blindfold their horses and ride off the cliff to join the tribe on the other side. Sacrifice Cliff is visible almost anywhere in Billings. So it's sad and a bit spooky, they say, to think about the story while the cliff is still looming over the entire city. I got a doggie in here. Okay, Nebraska. The Poison Girl at Centennial Hall. You might even see the dog. When Insider chose the most haunted place in each state, Centennial Hall was a no-brainer for them. People claim that there are multiple ghosts roaming the halls, but the creepiest story of Centennial Hall originates in the 1940s when it used to be a high school. The story says the student was playing her clarinet and suffered a heart attack and died because her reed was poisoned. Now people claim to feel cold spots, hear disembodied music, and have witnessed an empty rocking chair that starts to rock. Nevada, the truth about Area 51. There is perhaps no urban legend, myth, or conspiracy theory more famous than Nevada's Area 51, a mysterious government facility that is rumored to associate with aliens. The U.S. government officially says that Area 51 is classified due to national security, which only fuels the fire for those wanting to seek adventure. The secrecy surrounding Area 51 is inherited creepy, and with government admitting to programs investigating UFOs and theories about what is actually going on inside, and continue to make a lot seem more plausible. and weird craft flying above the base. New Hampshire, the Witch of the Hamptons, Goody Cole. Eunice Goody Cole was the only woman in New Hampshire history to be tried for witchcraft multiple times. Her first charge was in 1656, and she was charged again in 1671. When she died, her body was recovered, and the townspeople rumored to have staked her through the heart to prevent her from haunting their town. People continue to blame Goody Cole for misfortunes of the Hampton citizens, and they've done it for the past 300 years. For example, a boat full of Hampton residents overturned, and everyone on board drowned. Even though they were within swimming distance, people blamed Goody Cole for the crash and cursing the passenger by having them forget how to swim. New Jersey. Oh, I think you guys know what this one's going to be. It's the New Jersey Devil. The story of the New Jersey Devil has been around since the 1700s. The legend states a woman named Mother Leeds became pregnant with her 13th child. So let this one be a devil. Once the child was born, it grew hooves, wings, and horns and tail. Boy, careful what you wish for. Ooh. So now the monster has been spotted periodically throughout history in the Pine Barrens region of New Jersey. The state has embraced the legend so much they named their hockey team after it. Boy, how mean. Don't name your kid that. All right, New Mexico, La Mala Hora. La Mala Hora, which translate to the evil hour, which is an entity that you don't want to run into on a dark road. Legend says, at first, it appears as a ball of black energy, constantly moving and changing its shape and size. And if you look at it, it'll drive you insane and slowly kill you. At other times, it appears scary looking woman and is said to see her at the crossroads, or someone in your family will die. New York, and it's named Cropsey. The story of Cropsey, as many has learned, but it generally tells the story of a man who stalked a sleep-away camp psychiatric facility, children's hospital, and had a hook for the hand. And he killed children who were wandering alone at night. Every single person who went to camp in the upstate New York has heard about Cropsey. Things took more of a sinister turn when a documentary positioned Cropsey as actually real. A convicted child kidnapper named Andre Rand. All right, North Carolina, the beast of Bladenboro. The beast of Bladenboro. In the 1950s, multiple dogs were found dead and drained of blood. And this was in North Carolina, in this small town of Bladenboro. People believed that there was a vampiric in the woods, and they tried to hunt the animal down. Today, the town of Bladenboro has embraced its history, and residents actually hold a beast feast every year. While some people are convinced the beast was probably particularly large bobcat, it's never been confirmed exactly what was stalking their town. North Dakota, White Lady Lane. The story of White Lady Lane is a tragic one. The legend states that the young woman became pregnant out of wedlock. Her religious parents forced her to marry the father. The baby ended up dying after their wedding. The girl was so upset about her baby and forced into marriage that she hung herself from a bridge in her wedding dress. Locals claim to see her ghost hanging from the bridge. Ohio. All right, it's time for Ohio. The werewolf of Defiance. During the summer of 1972, the people of Defiance claimed that they were being terrorized by a sort of werewolf. The sightings always happened at night, generally by the train tracks. A couple of women said it would try to get in their houses by rattling the doorknobs. The animal was said to be huge and hairy and dressed in rags. But after summer ended, the beast disappeared, never to be heard again. But that story does linger. Oklahoma, the mysterious shaman's portal. The mysterious occurrence in Beaver Dunes Park have been attributed to the fact it was built upon an ancient Native American burial grounds, which is called the Shaman's Portal. It's also known as Oklahoma's Bermuda Triangle. Mysterious things have happened in the park, starting with Spanish conquistadors who went missing while searching for gold in the 1500s. Since then, paranormal activity seekers flock to the dunes. Some people claim the US UFO crashed there, and a group in the 90s who tested the soil said it was normal. Oregon, the Bandage Man of Cannon Beach. Rhonda, Oregon. The, the Bandage Man is an American version of a mummy. He is rumored to be the ghost of a logger who died in a sawmill accidentally and now terrorizes teenagers who hang out at the deserted area of the highway near Cannon Beach. Stories say that he knocks on the car windows and tried to get in, and he smells really, really bad. All right, Pennsylvania. Here you go, Karen. Pennsylvania, the bus to nowhere. Don't get on that bus, Karen. Susan, you either. And well, you guys don't go to Philadelphia. We're good. In Philadelphia, there's a rumor to be a bus that doesn't have an end destination. The story says the bus only picks up uh, passengers that are at their lowest moments who need to get away from their problems. Once the passenger is ready to face the world, they can get off the bus. But the passenger has no idea how long they've been on the bus for. It could have been minutes, hours, days, or even years. Yeah, stay off that bus. All right, Rhode Island, the Devil's Footprints. There is a rock on Devil's Road. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing anybody. All right, there's a rock on Devil's Foot Road that appears to show a normal human footprint, a cloven hoof. The story goes a Native American woman murdered a white man and fled the scene of the crime. While running, she was stopped by another man. She cried out for the devil to save her. When the man admitted that himself he was the devil and stomped his feet on the ground to prove that he had a cloven foot, which the rock still shows to this day. South Carolina, the death of Julia Legare. In the 1800s, Legare was uh, where a well-to-do South Carolina family had homes on the mainland of Edisto Island. Their daughter Julia got sick and was pronounced dead and was buried inside the family mausoleum. Years later, another member of the Legare family died. And when their tomb was opened, the remains of Julia were found outside of her coffin. The story says that Julia had been in a coma and had woken up and tried to escape her tomb, but sadly died. After the first reopening of the Legare mausoleum, the door seemed to stay shut. The Legares tried multiple times different doors, and every single time the door was found open. People believed that the ghost of Julia didn't want to be locked in the tomb any longer. South Dakota, Walking Sam and the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Purportedly over 7 feet tall and very slim, Walking Sam is said to appear on the streets of Pine Ridge, an Indian reservation at night. And he tries to convince teenagers to take their own lives. Whether or not Walking Sam is real, something tragic is going on at the reservation. Now, this is from December 2014 to May 2015. There were 103 attempted suicide at Pine Ridge. All right, Tennessee, the boy in the bathroom at Pine Haven School. Pine Haven School is located in Jamestown and is an old and abandoned, and is said to be haunted. The tragic story took place where a boy was cornered by a group of bullies in the bathroom, shoved into a mirror which shattered and killed him. To avoid getting caught committing the murder, the bullies decided to bury the body underneath the floorboards. Today, people say that if you go inside the school, you can see the reflection of the boy if you look too long in the mirror. Texas. All right, the Candy Lady. In the early 1800s, the unnamed rural town in Texas started to go missing, and the residents blamed it on the Candy Lady, a story that says she would go around leaving candy on children's windows, and eventually she lured the kids out with notes attached promising them more candy. The story picked up steam when the farmers allegedly found rotten teeth on their farm and later found the body of a boy with his pockets stuffed with candy. While little is known about the origin of the story, some have speculated that the Candy Lady was real and that her name was Clara Crane. All right, Utah, the curse of Escalante Petrified Forest. While it is illegal to take anything from Escalante Petrified Forest State Park, there is a legend that says anyone who takes a piece of the petrified wood from the park will be cursed with bad luck, sickness, and many accidents. Park manager Kendall Farnsworth stated in 2014 that he gets about a dozen packages every year containing wood from the park and a letter detailing the sender's misfortunes. Vermont, the frozen people. First appearing in a diary that was published in the late 1800s, the legend of hibernating old people recounts the tale of a poor family outside Mount Pilaire and who couldn't afford to feed and clothe the oldest members of their family. So they froze the people and buried them. According to the tale, when spring rolled around, the elders thawed out and they were just fine. Huh? I don't know about that. Virginia, the Bunny Man. The Bunny Man's legend starts with a good urban legend with an insane asylum. Hold on. Sorry about that. I have a puppy that was chewing stuff up that he wasn't supposed to chew out. All right, the Bunny Man legend starts with what every good urban legend starts with, an insane asylum. The people of Clifton were so up in arms about the asylum that they were able to get all the patients transferred. And the patients were being moved on a bus that crashed. And the police were able to catch all the patients except the bunny man. According to the tale, the bunny man lived in the woods and sustained himself on woodland creatures like bunnies. But eventually he attacked humans. Some people reported being attacked by a man with a hatchet. Other tales say that the groups of teens would see a bright light and they would wind up dead, strung up over a bridge. Washington State. Bigfoot. What was it? What was his name? Mick Dodge? Is that was his name? The Bigfoot guy? Bigfoot is an internationally recognized name, but has been spotted all over the country. But Bigfoot has been spotted the most in Washington State. Bigfoot is essentially a giant ape-like creature who is either a ferocious beast who attack loggers and hikers, and the gentle giant who wants to be left alone. Either way, there's something creepy about the undiscovered species of an animal wandering around the Pacific Northwest, invading capture. All right, West Virginia, you guys know this one. It's the Mothman. In 1966, the stories say West Virginia was visited by an insectoid flying creature with bright red eyes who resembled a moth and a man. He was spotted flying around the town of Point Pleasant, along with shining lights and the men in black. Mothman origins, have been claimed as supernatural alien or government experiment gone wrong. But Point Pleasant have embraced the monster, erecting a statue, to creating a museum, and dedicating the festival to him. In 2002, a film starring Richard Gere called The Mothman Prophecies was released. Wisconsin, Boy Scout Lane. The story of what exactly happened to a Boy Scout Lane varies, but they all end with the same conclusion. A group of Boy Scouts were found dead on the road. In some stories, there was a bus crash with no survivors, or they were murdered by their bus driver. They only just mysteriously vanished into the woods one by one. Visitors have reported seeing a swinging body of boys in the trees, feeling as though they're being watched, and finding child-sized handprints. Wyoming, the Devil's Tower. There's no science consensus upon the Devil's Rock that looks the way it does. One Native American attributes the landmark shape to a tragedy. According to the story, a group of Cheyenne girls were attacked, killed by a car. Two escaped and found help from two boys, who convinced the girls to act as bait. They climbed to the top of the tower, and a bear tried to follow. The boys shot arrows at the bear and finally gave up, leaving scratches all the way down the rocks as it slid.
Perfect time to schedule a free.
So anyway, that is it for all of the states. I don't know if that was 50. It seemed like there was some missing. But we did, again, happy birthday to Mary. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tonight. I know it was short, but I wanted to get in and do some urban legends. And I found a couple links that listed quite a few states. So I got them all together and seen if, I hope I had most of the list. And if not, you can always look it up on Google. Google your state for urban legends, it says. If not, there's plenty of urban legends on YouTube, which YouTube did not allow me in tonight. I will be back in the morning, though, and bright and early. And tomorrow is voting day for me. Should I tell you who I'm voting for? I guess everybody knows Sarah Sanders. There's another guy, Doc Washburn, great guy, folks. It's really hard. I'm going to have to flip a coin on that one. I have respected Doc Washburn for many, many years. He was a radio show host down here. Linda Ives had been on his show, and quite a few of the women have. And I've called in a few times, and but he's running for governor against Sarah Huckabee. So with that, folks, I will try to get this posted right over to YouTube or figure out what our issue is. It was working fine until today. So with that, folks, you have a wonderful Monday night, and we will see you for all the news in the morning. And I thank you much for watching. Subscribe, follow, hit that like button. We're growing every day. And sorry for the dog. Well, I got a brand new puppy, folks, and she's not very happy. So, all right, with that, we will see you guys tomorrow morning.